it is so good when you start taking responsibility. And the responsibility is in everything. So here's the other thing that kind of sucks about it is you cannot say, well, I'm going to take responsibility for this area of my life, but not this other area of my life. I think where it started to show up first in my results was actually in my marriage. For me, the entry point into really understanding this was in my marriage. Possibilities with Hina, episode 3. The day our marriage fell apart and I had to take responsibility for my part in it. But that's where I first started to really explore this. And I realized how there's this one distinction in responsibility that made the biggest difference for me. And I'm going to share it with you now. It says, and this is from what we study. So when you become a client, like Craig, we'll be sending you a workbook. We're going to be sending you all of this. And you're going to get also audio material to listen to as well. Like we're just going to overwhelm you with this. And so the correct interpretation is that you are responsible for your feelings and your results, not another person's. Oh, he's signing up. He's just moving some cash around. You may be responsible to another person for one thing or another, but not for another person. You may be responsible to another person for one thing or another, but not for another person. The exception, of course, is when you choose to take on the responsibility of raising children until they reach the age of maturity. In that case, you are both responsible to and for them until such time as they become responsible for themselves. At times, it might even be appealing to contemplate having another person take on our responsibilities for us. How many times are we looking at people, we're looking for that rescue in our relationship, that rescue in in our business. Like if I could just find that one business partner, that person would rescue me. If I could, meet that person, then I would feel a rescue. But what we would feel a rescue from is feeling our feelings and not taking responsibility. So we don't have to take responsibility for it. So we could even trick ourselves into believing that by doing this, we would be more free to play, have fun, and do other things we wanted. Does that make sense? It's like we can trick ourselves in thinking, well, if somebody else takes responsibility for me, then I am just free. And it doesn't work that way. It's like freedom comes from taking responsibility. That's the crazy part. I became free in my marriage when I stopped having to control it and I stopped enabling a really bad situation. I became free in my finances when I stopped being so angry and blaming the economy and what's happening in my industry. Freedom came when I took 100% responsibility. But all this time, I was under this illusion that I'll feel free if somebody else could just take care of me and do everything for me. Yes, Jennifer says when you take responsibility, you remove the ability to make excuses. That's right. And I always say, it's like you can have excuses or you can have the life that you want. It's totally up to you. And both are fine. Like there's not even anything wrong with not having the life you want, if that's what you choose, but understand that you are choosing that. So without serious thought, it might not enter our mind that exactly the opposite would happen. When you permit others to take on your responsibilities, you become dependent on them. And they become the giver and you become the receiver. How many of you can see this in your life with your relationships? And so where the dynamic happens, it can happen in our relationship, it can happen with our employer, and it can happen if you're a business owner with your customers and clients even, that you become dependent. And this is why I try to disentangle for you guys around money, that money does not come from things, it comes through things. And like Jennifer, who just received a $10,000 grant, can share that it can come through vehicles. Like she was a match to that amount and available for it, so it could come to her through that way. And when we stop trying to control, like it must come from these clients, it must come from that or this, you're at a different level of energy, because you just know, like I just know that it's all here. I'm available for it. I'm ready to receive it. And I'm available for it to come from all different ways. I'm not going to limit the way, I'm not putting a cap on the universe. Trixie can understand the responsibility piece. She said that she had had that for too long. And perhaps in your relationship, Trixie, and you said, enough. Yeah, enough. So what happens is, even for our clients then, like can you be like, can you have such a strong self-image that you don't need your clients? Like I know this kind of sounds nutty, but it's like you don't need clients. It's like they need you. Like there's a reason that they're coming to you. There's something that your energy, the way that you show up, that is how they want to show up. And you're providing a vehicle for it. And that's why I say, like, everybody transforms. Like you guys had transformation in a 1-week masterclass. Like, and you transformed because of being in the energy of the community and being in my energy. And that's the same for people in your life.